Doctor Who Season 2, Episodes 16 to 21, titled The Web Planet. Now, this one, I got a pre-warned. With this story, this six-part story. I was like, I just finished covering and making the video and watching the West U. Decided to take a bit of a break. And then I was like, okay, on to watching the Romans. But then I got this message from someone saying, have fun with the Web Planet because it can get kind of weird. Definitely if you're not used to like 1960s sci-fi. If you're not used to that type of era, it can get quite weird. So I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm planning to cover or at least a good chunk of Doctor Who for the 60th. I'll see, and Web Planet's part of it. And it's time to watch the Web Planet. It's weird. It's going to be weird. Accepting it, okay. I'm approaching it, and I'm like, it's not weird. It's just boring. I mean, the first episode is literally, as most first episodes go, it's like you have the Doctor and the companions, which is Vicky, Barbara, and Ian, or whatever, on this planet. But for 25 minutes, they are literally walking around the planet, and that's it. And you realize, okay, this is going to be a very slow-paced story. But at the same time, there was a sense of worry that they might not have a sense of focus. I feel like it might be so slow-paced to the point that you are forgetting the motivations, why things are happening, why are we at this certain point, why the cat's acting this and this and this and this. And that's basically what happened. A good chunk of this episode, I'm like, I don't know. I'm forgetting the motivation. There's a war between the bees and the ants, because the Web Planet is an insect planet. So you have like giant ants and bees, and I couldn't help but notice the actor who plays Ian. I think you could easily tell like he's like, I can handle Daleks. I can handle all the other aliens, but goddamn, I think people in bee costume. And personally, I was kind of looking forward to the bees because of Adventure in Time and Space, because they were in there. I was like, what's with the bees? What's that bee story? And now I know with the Web Planet, but you have. You got the bees, you got these giant ants, and I feel like they might just have made costume versions of what they use for Planet of the Giants. You got these caterpillars, and you also got this. Say that it's meant to be a cockroach, I think. This like slimy type of thing that kind of shoots like a missile or like a bullet or a laser out of its nose. And you're like, okay, it's insect planet, but like stuff is kind of just happening. It is kind of like we're having the cone of silence because we're having the cone of silence on the top of the Doctor's head. It just it feels no sense. Like this is gonna be a quick one because it is. I just find this story dull. Really, I don't really care what's happening. I don't really care about the motivations of the characters and of this particular story. But I will say that seeing Barbara and Ian and knowing that we only have we have the Space Museum and then the Chase, and the Chase is the final episode of Barbara and Ian as companions, because apparently Barbara shows up in like one of one of the anniversary specials. But I won't lie, seeing Vicky next to them two is a little bit odd. I mean, maybe because modern era, we don't really see much mix and match. It's not like, the Doctor. It's not like Martha left, but Donna is, but Woe's still here, and here goes Donna. Like, it isn't that until like season 4. But it's kind of like you'd have one companion, they tell their story, and they move on, and the new one comes in, right? But it's always like one or two, and it's kind of a couple or whatever. So that, seeing Barbara and Ian, and this whole show started with them curious about Susan, because her knowledge of Earth, her knowledge is way beyond planet Earth, and plus she knows that she doesn't know about certain things because she believes, because she's been taught this other way, and because it's so linked to Susan, it just feels a bit. They feel out of place. That's the problem. I think they feel very out of place. It feels like the showrunners wanted to establish Vicky very much, to the point they do feel very sidelined. And again, you're trying to split the characters up so everybody has things to do, but it doesn't feel like that with the story. Um, it's I mean, here's the thing: the next one's the Space Museum, because the Crusade, which I hear is a good thing, but you got the Crusade that is got wiped. One of the other stories that got wiped. So the next one will be the Space Museum. Then it is the Chase. Um, and then the Time Angler, and then we're gonna be done by season 2. Then it's only 3 episodes of season 3. 3 stories of season 3, and then the 10th Planet crosses over on season 4 before Patrick Troughton takes over as the second Doctor. So with his episodes, there's a lot. There's a lot of stories that are just cut out, that are gone from existence. But yeah, I thought it's not really much to talk about with this story, is because nothing really happens. There's nothing that really interesting and engaging, to the point it's quite forgettable, really.